I'm smiling right now, but a lot of times we're not smiling. We're feeling stuck. We're feeling uncertain, full of doubt. Where are we heading in life? What's the meaning of life? Perhaps that's why you're looking at this video here today. The matrix is a really cool exercise, a pen and paper exercise you can do to kind of give yourself more perspective, more clarity, and more certainty. Eventually, obviously, it'll help improve relationships as well. The clearer we are and the more confident we are inside ourselves. It comes from the ACT method of psychotherapy, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. Very important for us to have an acceptance of where we're at in order to move forward. And a lot of times we end up stuck, not accepting the things in our lives, the people in our lives, things that are going on. So if you're feeling that stuckness now, get ready for an exercise that can help lift that out of your body and out of even your life. So you're going to grab a pen and paper, and you're going to be able to join right along as I go through this exercise to help build psychological flexibility. Dr. Kevin Polk designed this exercise, and it's helped many people around the world to develop psychological flexibility for their personal lives as well as their work life. So it can help you kind of determine what you want to move away from and ways to do that, as well as what you'd like to move toward. A way of thinking about the matrix is, think about a bunny rabbit. You see a bunny rabbit out in your yard or running down the street. Do you know if it's moving towards something or away from something? Think about it for a second. Ponder. How would the bunny feel if it was moving away from something versus towards something? Now, for a second or two, think about what types of things would a bunny want to move away from? Exactly. You're probably thinking of a threat, a predator. Perhaps it's a car, a truck, or a coyote, or a wolf, depending on where you live. And think about how it would feel as it's moving away from something. Think about some of the thoughts it might have as it's moving away from something. And then as it's moving toward, what types of things would a bunny move toward? A lot of people say carrots, lettuce, grass. Maybe it's eating your plants out of your garden. Or maybe it's heading toward one of its many holes toward its nest. Think about how that bunny would feel moving toward a desired object like a carrot or a nest for safety and comfort. So as we enter the exercise, I want you to think about how you feel when you're focused on things you want to get away from, and how you feel when you're focused on things you want in your life, you want to move toward. If you find in the exercise you feel you're getting a little stuck, think of the bunny rabbit again. The internal world and the external world. What are you moving away from or toward? It's important when you're doing an exercise like this to breathe through, be open, and be brainstorming. Brainstorming means no judgment of your thoughts or opinions at this point, that they're all okay and you can put anything on there. Once you've done the exercise, you're going to have a little bit more direction and maybe a bit more energy inside as well to motivate us. And it really does help to motivate us through perspective, as well as identify and list on the paper some of the things we'd like to have more of in our lives and ways that we can get those. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, tell friends about it, send in comments, let us know other videos you'd like us to produce. So without further ado, let's get into the matrix. To do the matrix, grab a piece of paper. 8.5 by 11 should be big enough. You can always make it larger if you'd like to make a poster for your room. And once you have a piece of paper, maybe grab a pen. You can have a couple colored pens if you want. When we use writing or colors or shapes, they store on parts of our mind a little more effectively, so it helps with memory. So let's draw a horizontal line across the middle of the page. Nice horizontal line with an arrow at each end. Okay, on the left side a little arrow, on the right side a little arrow. Now think about that bunny moving away from things. So on the left side, just write down away from. And then on the right side, this is what we're moving toward. So you want to move toward these things. Some of those are internal, some of those are external. So we'll draw a line down the center now. At the top of that line, right outside, these are things that are external that other people could see, and they're sensory. So using all of our senses, touch, smell, taste, sound. Think about that. And then at the bottom, these are the inside or internal things. Thoughts, emotions, as well as body sensations. In the middle, we can see that we'll just draw a little bit of a circle in the middle. Alrighty? Little circle. And this is your observing self. This is where we want to have workability, that things are actually workable. We want to have flexible. This exercise builds psychological flexibility so that we're not as stuck in certain ways of thinking, certain ways of behaving. It can open us up so that we're more flexible, workable, and we're in more of an observing role. So observable. Almost like we're curiously observing our lives from a distance. Now, when you think about this exercise, again, certain things we're moving away from. So I want you to think about what are some things you might be more inclined to work away from and move away from internally, some thoughts. So a lot of people might put ants in here, or what we refer to as automatic negative thoughts. So think about these as some negative thoughts. Think about your top negative thoughts. A lot of people will have negative thoughts that just seem to be self-evaluation, negative self-evaluation. Sometimes not good enough. That might be, and then the feelings related to that, what would those be? A lot of times when we feel or think we're not good enough, we might feel alone, we might feel helpless, etc. So those are a couple of examples of things we might want to move away from. We might also feel afraid. So fear. If we're not good enough, then we might be afraid of what's going to happen as we strive to make it on planet Earth. Now up in the top left quadrant, we're looking at things we want to get away from that are visible. Maybe they're even people. So you might put a few people that you're not ready to be around. It's just hard to be around and you want to move away from, but it seems to be hard to. Also, things that you want to move away from, or habits we want to move away from. List those in that quadrant. Do your deep breathing, ponder, and think about what are some of the habits that I might use in an attempt to deal with my stress that I'd like to move away from. What might those be? Some people have different types of habits, could be called addictions. Maybe they're behaviors that you do so much that get in the way of other things. And that's okay. They might distract us for a while, and then the very thing that distracts us becomes the stressor. That's okay. What we want to do with this exercise is observe these things and be comfortable putting them down. If there's anything that you want to put on that sheet that you would not want anyone else to see, you could put it down in a code. So you could put a V down there. Maybe that stands for violence. Maybe we want to move away from violence. Maybe we want to move away from drugs. You might just put a D down there if somebody wants to move away from drugs. Maybe there are other types of habitual behaviors you want to move away from. Some people might want to move away from yelling. It's very common when we get in arguments. It's kind of okay, and at the same time, it might be something you want to move away from. As you do the away from category, you're also seeing how it leads to the towards category. To develop psychological flexibility, we also want to be able to put what we want in our lives. And I think when we get really negative, it's easy for you or me or anybody else to think about all the things we don't want. Oh, I'm tired of this. Oh, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of stinking thinking. I'm tired of these ants crawling around in my head. I'm tired of feeling tense. Nobody really sees it, remember, the internal world. I'm tired of feeling stressed. I'm tired of feeling judged. I'm just tired of those things. Good. That's a healthy place to be. And even if you're not tired, you might just be realizing, just starting to realize, they're not that good for you. Just like certain people in your life maybe they're not going to turn around their behavior soon enough. So you do want to go away from those people for a period of time. You hear a lot of people saying they could have a toxic impact. People themselves are not toxic, but people can have a toxic impact. We don't label the person, we like to label the behavior. So think about that as a healthy kind of workable way of thinking about things. Traditionally in our lives, people would like to look at the world as good and bad, right, wrong, better or worse. So this exercise, the matrix, guides us to look at them as some things are workable, some things are less workable. Some things are healthier than other things. Some things are more meaningful to us, more valued. Some things are less valued. So we're moving away from things that are less valued, and this chart helps build a bit of a guide for you to figure out what's more valued. So let's put people up there in the top right quadrant, the people you might want to move toward. I'll just get that zoom out of the way. And the people in your life you want to move toward, but also the what. Think about what you would want more in your life. And this is what you put in this area. What? Physical things and people. And the how, you might even put the how in there. Do I want to talk with my eyebrows up more? More calmly? Would I like to interact with people more caringly? Would I like to build more empathy? The ability to understand another person's feelings and thoughts a little bit better? Building empathy might be something you want to move toward. The what in your life? It might be that you're looking for a job, or it might look like a career change or an advancement. It might be that you're looking for romance, a romantic partner. You might be looking for that. So put down in terms of people, in terms of the what, some of the things that excite you, some of the things you'd like to have more of in your life. It might be nature, it might be experiencing, getting outdoors, canoeing, kayaking, skating, whatever it is you feel inside that gets you sparked up. You want to put a lot of those things in that upper quadrant there, outside sensory things. Do you want some more baking? I smell baking going on in the house right now. Maybe we want some more baking. Maybe we want to do more creative stuff like artwork or different types of hobbies. Maybe you want to get into a certain team or onto a certain team for sports. In the internal world, down on the bottom right, you can see how the bottom left sets up the bottom right of the matrix. So if I want to move away from the ants, then I would want to move toward. Put down what you want to move toward in your internal mind, in your internal vision, internal experience. What types of thought patterns do you want to have more of? Often people say more balanced. A lot of us therapists sometimes say more positive. Positive is just not enough in and of itself. Moving toward positive wouldn't be balanced. There's value in negative thinking, as long as we don't dwell there, and there's value in the positive. So I like to think of it as more balanced. You might want to move to be more connected, as you see, instead of alone. You also might want to have a more calm and confident view of life. Confident. Imagine that, a confident view of life rather than afraid and apprehensive and uncertain. So that's something you might want to move toward. What other things you might want to move toward? You might want to move toward better fitness. Physical, mental, spiritual, some kind of fitness. So put your fitness goals in that area as well. This is internal, something other people might not know, but you might feel like you have better posture. Other people could see that, so it could be on the top quadrant as well. However, inside you might just feel more physically flexible and more physically strong. That might be a goal you're moving toward. Mental strength as well. More balance there, more confidence, less judgmental of other people. It's okay to judge behaviors, to like them or not like them, or see them as workable or less workable, effective or less effective, without judging the person. It's very important. So we could put non-judgmental right in there. It's not something people would see, but non-judgmental might be an area to move toward. So you get a sense from the matrix, from this little exercise, of how we can build a little bit more flexibility. And in the center, I would like to call that, the real you. Think of that as the real you, the real me. A person that has balance. Most children have that balance before a lot of negativity gets in the mind or a lot of negative experiences. We tend to have more balance. Think about the things you want in your life. These are the things you value. Just because we value them doesn't mean we have them in our life right now. That's the purpose of setting up an exercise like this and setting goals out. With the ACT matrix, we can actually give ourselves an opportunity to relax and become observers of our life in a 5, 10, 15-minute little worksheet exercise. This exercise allows us to improve our psychological flexibility, our emotional balance, and our cognitive balance by thinking about things, they're not that great for us right now. They're okay, they're where we're at. And what do we want to move away from and toward? Whether it's external, whether it's internal. Allow yourself to look at your life from a more balanced, well-rounded perspective. The matrix can help you build some flexibility and a different awareness about where you're at in life and where you're headed. Value your values. Things that you think are important are important. So thanks again for tuning in. If you like this video, hit subscribe, send us a comment, and remember, take care out there.